If you're using the same email funnel for a fashion company that worked well for a supplement brand, then you're probably burning a lot of your revenue without even knowing it. You could have the best in class design or the most educational, thoughtful copy that's ever been written, but you might still struggle with low open rates, click-through rates, and worst of all, sales. The reason for that is simply because email strategy is not a one-size-fits-all. You have to adjust and adapt based on your niche. Fashion brands or health brands, they both have wildly different buyer personas and emotional triggers. So these people need to be treated differently. If you treat them the same, then you're going to end up with emails that maybe look good in your dashboard, but they don't translate into revenue. So today I'm going to break down the difference between these two verticals and why they need different approaches. So this is more of an educational strategy type video to help you unpack and understand not just for fashion companies or for supplement companies, but the reason why your strategy needs to be different depending on the niche that you're in. All right, so let's talk about the psychological differences between somebody who's buying from a fashion company and then a supplement brand instead. So fashion buyers are more interested in impulse purchasing. So they're looking at products that they see. They're asking, does it match my vibe? Is it on trend? Will it make me feel a certain way? Consciously, unconsciously, those are the things that people are asking. Health buyers, on the other hand, they're more interested in trust and logic. Will this work for my problem? Is it safe? Is it brand credible? So you're selling a feeling in one case and you're selling a solution in the other. I mean, you can argue that they're both solutions to different problems at the end of the day if you go deep enough. But long story short, if your emails don't match the mindset of the customer, then you're going to see terrible engagement rates and even worse, low sales. If you think about confirmation bias for a second and how that plays in making people look for messaging that confirms what they already unconsciously believe, then in fashion, it's more about identifying trending styles. And then in health, it's about reinforcement of safety or any authority or proof. So you want to lean into each of those different mindsets depending on what it is that you're selling and who to. If we talk about segmentation for a second, then Klaviyo themselves has stated that health brands see 30 to 40% higher click rates on segmented flows based on pain points like sleep or energy or something like that. Whereas for fashion brands in general, they perform best when their emails are refreshed visually, when you've got new styles, new pieces, new clothes, UGC, some kind of social proof constantly being generated. That's what keeps people interested on email for fashion companies. So with fashion, you're building a visual momentum, you're building novelty, whereas with the health company, you are building trust over time. So this is an example of where the strategy that you're using needs to go deeper than just the fundamentals of email marketing. So it can't just be, we'll optimize the welcome flow and we'll change the subject line, for example. You need to go deep on the actual strategy and really audit what it is that you're doing and make sure that it's right for your niche. So some strategy examples then, if you're running a fashion brand, we'll start there. So the first one is planning product drops or styling themes monthly. So fashion companies run on new products coming in. That's what keeps people interested. That's what makes people keep on clicking your emails and opening them and looking forward to them. If you're not really releasing that many new products, then your content quite simply is going to get stale. That being said, it doesn't mean that you need to be a completely fast fashion company and get rid of all the stock that you've got and then never reuse it. Of course, you should have some classics, some bestsellers that you stick to so that you can keep those SKUs and continue to benefit from your repeat winners that you've got in terms of your product line. But even with the same SKUs that you've got, you can repackage them by vibe, by collection. You can find different ways to style them that can increase the interest and reignite that interest as well. So the second thing here is to refresh the email design that you've got weekly. So don't reuse templates. Try not to send more than 2 or 3 times with the same image or even the same product sometimes. Any repetition that you've got, it's just going to kill that curiosity. You need to keep things constantly fast moving and changing as well so that it keeps on catching people's eye. You'll notice once you've been doing email for a while, like I have, that creative fatigue is very real. The same way it is in the AdWord world, advertising as in acquisition side, it's the same with email. Your creatives do get boring and it's like 10x with fashion. So the third thing is to lean into your social proof, but do it in a visual way, not in a written way. So again, this is what matters more when you've got that UGC, you've got fresh faces. So it looks like there's tons and tons of people who are interested in this brand. It then creates that kind of like herd effect where people want to get it because they think that it's the popular thing to do, right? It's classic human nature. But you don't want to show the customer what people are saying, as in text-based testimonials or anything like that. You want to show people wearing it. That's what's going to get people to actually want to buy it. All right then, so going into the health side of things now, the first thing you want to do is ask customers for their concerns on sign up, or at least in your welcome flow. So I've done videos on this with question-based content before. There might be more of it on my channel, go and check that out. But long story short, you want to tailor your welcome flows based on what people are struggling with. Maybe it's sleep or energy or stress. Tailor that welcome flow based on what the customer has already told you. So the whole point is that you don't just spam people with tons of issues that they don't really care about and might end up making them overthinking other issues and then never make a purchase. Instead, you want to really nail down on what it is that they're interested in. What is it that they're looking to improve in their life, and how can you help, and be very specific. Number two is to use educational micro content. So we do this all the time where we've got short tips or myth busting or ingredients breakdowns, things like that. These kind of trending topics and tried and tested angles work very well even inside of email. So if you see something that's doing well on your TikTok account or Instagram Reels, wherever, then try incorporating that into your email as well, and use educational style stuff. Not every email should be a discount. You should already know that by now if you've been watching me for long enough, but make sure that you've got little tidbits of information that can actually help them, again, specific to their problem. And the third thing to do is to send reorder reminders. So of course, with the health company versus the fashion, that's the one thing that you've got that's a bit more of an advantage. You don't continuously need to create new products as often, but you do need to be making sure that you're retaining customers nonetheless. So it might be a bit easier for customers to retain for fashion companies because there's always something new, but for you, it's more important about talking about the fact that your products are replenishable, that you'll build momentum over time, that you can build up a reserve. For example, if you're a supplement company, that it takes a week, I think, to build up the reserve for the supplement that you're taking before you actually start to see the benefit. And then if they go off it for a week, then it's going to take them 2 weeks to get back to normal, etc. So this type of reorder reminder, combined with a little bit of education and sometimes even motivation, can help to make sure that you're getting people to continuously buy your product. So a real world example for you then, I was working with a supplement company that were treating their emails like it was a fashion brand. So big, bold visuals, everything looked great, big CTAs. And so naturally they had decent open rates, not bad clicks, but the revenue just wasn't there. So once you get to a certain point with your emails, you'll find that you've got some people who are really warm buyers and they just want to buy immediately, get their discount from the welcome flow and purchase, and then they become a customer. They're already sold. But the majority of the people on your email list, if you check it yourself, you'll see that the majority are non-customers. They've never purchased from you before. It wouldn't surprise me if it's more than 50%. So check that out and you'll see there's actually a lot of people here that aren't buying from us. What's the reason? And the best way that you can then get those people to purchase is through education. So that's things like I've already covered. Maybe they don't trust your brand. Maybe they're not fully bought in on the solution. Maybe they're shopping around. Maybe they're just busy. Could be any of these things, but you need to develop that kind of FOMO by educating them on your product. We changed things completely and we switched from this fashion-based approach to a supplement or health brand-based approach. So we were asking people what their problem was. Is it sleep? Is it muscle problems that you've got? They were selling a lot of magnesium, for example, which is good for helping with sleep, helping with your digestive system in some cases as well. So we asked people, what is your concern? What are you looking for? And once people told us that, they were tagged on their profile. And so we knew, okay, this person wants to increase their sleep or improve their sleep. So then we started sending them content such as how to optimize your bedroom so that you can maximize your sleep quality. And then as part of that, we made the magnesium a ritual as well that the people were doing in order to achieve that desired result. So we're hooking people in by giving them value on tips, tricks that they can use to improve their life, and then also embedding the product as part of that. Now, similarly, I've worked with fashion companies before where they are doing things kind of right. They're focusing on visuals. They've got great content. They even use some AI content, which wasn't too bad. And they were putting that into their emails, but then their copywriting was just terrible. Now, copy is not as important in fashion than it is in these other brands, but nevertheless, if you want to make your emails convert repeatedly, then you need to combine good quality design with very neat, very kind of like clever or at least eye-catching copy that not only hooks people's attention in, but really presses on that emotional need for why they want to buy another piece of clothing. Maybe they got a wardrobe full. Why do they need this new piece? And so being clever with your copy, but being concise is very important. So if you're a fashion company, you don't want to take that approach of having walls of text in your fashion emails, but you also don't want your headlines to be generic, like, I don't know, the winter look or something like that. Like it's just a bit lazy if you ask me, no offense. But you do want to improve that. You know, how can you make this a little bit more specific? Is this product for going to the Christmas markets? Is it for cozy nights in? I don't know, but get specific, get right down to the point and say it in as little words as you can. So, quick wrap up then. Common mistakes that you should avoid is using too much copy in your fashion emails. People don't read it, they scroll, they look at the design first. So use that design for the storytelling and then wrap it up neatly in a nice little bow with a clever piece of copy that's very, very short. Number two is using vague health claims without proof. So if customers want safety, they don't want hype. There's so many different people out there who are making big claims, big bold claims, and it just means that people's eyes glaze over if it doesn't look convincing when you're doing health. So you've got to use data, you've got to use reviews. Plain language science sometimes works quite well. We've tried that before for a number of different supplement companies. Give it a try, but don't use massive, vague health claims if you haven't actually got any proof, or at least always have data to back something up. And the third thing is treating your flows like they're set and forget. Now, I've said this a million times across the board, and it matters for any type of niche in email. Every single brand should be auditing their core flows at least quarterly as a bare minimum. We do it monthly for our clients. It depends on the amount of time that you've got. But if your product lines or your positioning is changing, then you need to be adapting to that. So this is especially important for fashion companies. If you're building your email flows, don't put products that are only going to be there for maybe a season, or worst case, like a month or a limited drop. Try and focus on the timeless stuff there, because then your flows, you don't have to keep rebuilding them every single week or month or whatever it might be. Go for the things that are classic and that are going to be there. And then if you want to replenish your flows every season, which is a good idea if you have the bandwidth, then you can do that. And that helps you to stay relevant. But realistically, you don't need 40 automations. You just need 4 to 6 that are very, very good, and they will make up the majority of your revenue. All right, so please subscribe if you found this helpful. I don't want to just make my content about the small details, like how to design emails and do copy for them, but also talking about strategy is something that I really enjoy, and it's something that me and my team are getting very good at because we've been doing it for years now. So hopefully more of that to come. Let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you want to book a call with me, if you want to talk through strategy, if you want a free audit of your account, then feel free to do that below. Thank you.